By the end of this video, you'll learn how to build this agentic chatbot specialized for content generation. I'll show you step by step how to build 3 agents, a writer agent, a content-critic agent, and an SEO specialist agent collaborating to provide a high-quality piece of text. Hey everyone! If you're planning to improve your skills in developing agentic AI projects, or maybe if you even haven't started and you're planning to start learning how to develop agentic AI projects, especially in Python, this video is for you. And not only this video, I have a whole playlist of videos on YouTube for developing agentic AI projects from the very beginning to the end. And in all of my videos, I will never ever present a pre-written piece of code and just talk over it. I will do everything from scratch. I will create a new file, an empty file, and I will start to write each and every line of code. So we will experience the details, the errors, how to address them, how to add new features to our project, how to make a simple UI web application for our projects. We will experience all of that and all the details involved in these different steps together. And as the saying goes, the devil is in the detail. So let's do it together. Okay, so today we'll be developing an agentic AI project in which 3 agents collaborate to provide a high quality piece of text. These 3 agents are a writer agent, which gets a description from the user and comes up with a draft or initial version of the text. And the second agent is a content-critic agent. It scores the writing provided by the writer agent on grammar, on clarity, on style, and also provides a to-do list on how to improve the current version. And we will also have an SEO-critic agent. It gives us a score on the current version of the writing from the SEO aspect, and also some to-do lists to make it more SEO-friendly. We'll be using the most recent stable version of AutoGen, and we will create a team of these 3 agents and we'll orchestrate them to accomplish our desired task. And in the end, we will develop a very simple UI, a web application using Streamlit, just like the way we've done in previous videos. And from a developer's aspect, here's what we're going to do today. We will define assistant agents in AutoGen. We will work with OpenAI O3 mini LLMs. We will create a team out of these agents. More specifically, in previous videos, we've done this using the round-robin group chat. That is one very effective way to create teams out of agents. But today, just for the sake of learning, we will do it differently. We will create a Selector Group Chat. I will talk about the differences between the round-robin and the Selector Group Chat. We'll also create a custom data type that the agents will generate their output in that structure, in that data type. So instead of making the agents, just generate some arbitrary text, their output will be more structured. We will tell them what structure to use for the output. And then we'll develop a custom termination function. If you watched my previous videos, you'll see that we've used some predefined termination conditions to terminate an ongoing chat. But today we'll be developing a custom termination condition. This is a little bit advanced in AutoGen, and we'll see how we should do that. And last but not the least, we will develop a UI, a web application using Streamlit to showcase our project. So without further ado, let's start. Okay, I'll create a writer.py for my agentic side. The 3 agents will live in this script, and I will make the team out of these 3 agents here, and I will orchestrate them here. And then I will have a separate app.py to develop my Streamlit web application. Okay, so let me define the agents first. Just like my previous videos, from AutoGen agent chat.agents import AssistantAgent. And just as a quick definition, AssistantAgent is a class to represent an agent, that has an underlying LLM and also can use tools, can generate outputs in our desired structures. It can get a system message to know what is its role and how it should do its role. And we will use async IO to develop our project, mostly asynchronous. And we'll use async IO to develop our project, mostly asynchronous, whenever we can. This is a common practice nowadays in developing agentic AI projects. So import async IO. Okay, so let's define a coroutine. I will call it for now main, a main coroutine. And this will be our writer agent. I would say writer agent equals assistant agent. The name will be writer agent. And I need to specify the system message. So for the system message, I would say you are a writer agent. You will be given a topic and you need to write some content about it. You will be collaborating with a Content-Critic Agent and an SEO-Critic, let's say, Content-Critic and an SEO-Critic Agent. These agents will provide feedbacks and scores on your content. You should address their feedbacks and improve your content. Cool. Okay, so this is our system message, and I should also define an LLM, an underlying model for this agent. So model client, I need to define that. Let's call it model for now. So just like what we've done in previous videos, I can import ChatGPT here. I mean OpenAI O3 Mini, more specifically. So from AutoGen x.models.openai import OpenAI chat completion client. And now I need to define the model. Model is an OpenAI chat completion client. The specific model will be O3 Mini, and I need to provide an API key. The API key I have the API key in api.text, so let's read it. Open api.text. Read it and make sure there's no extra space at the end. And if you don't have your API key, you can easily go to platform.openai.com, and here you can go to the settings, and here's the API keys. You can create new secret keys or API keys. Once you create them, you can copy them. I recommend having it in a separate file. Never ever hard copy it inside your code. And make sure you don't push the API in GitHub, or you don't make it public. So here's our model, and here's our model client. So this is our writer agent. This is exactly what we used to do in previous videos, but in those videos we were going to make a round-robin group chat, and this is enough for a round-robin group chat. But the way we're gonna develop this project today, we'll be using a Selector Group Chat. And let me show you what is a Selector Group Chat. We can go to AutoGen documentation in the teams, and yes, here's the Selector Group Chat. So it has a very good tutorial. I recommend you reading the whole page. It's not that long. So, okay, this is how it works. You have a bunch of agents, but unlike the round-robin group chat, in round-robin group chat, everything was deterministic. You know beforehand which agent is going to talk when. So let's say you have 3 agents, A, B, C. In a round-robin group chat, this is exactly the way they're going to speak. First A, then B, then C. Again, A, B, C, A, B, C, and so on and so forth. So this is a round-robin group chat. Of course, round-robin group chat is a very effective way of creating a team of agents, and you can actually cast many real-world applications to work in this way. But at the same time, there are many different real-world examples that, it is not inherently deterministic. You don't know beforehand which agent is going to talk when. So let's say, for example, in our example, the writer comes up with a piece of text, and then the content critic is unhappy about it. Maybe they need to go on several iterations before passing a satisfactory piece of text to the SEO-Critic agent. So in this way, we don't know beforehand when is, for example, the SEO-Critic agent going to talk. So this is how the Selector Group Chat can help. We have a bunch of agents. We make a team out of them. And here's what happens exactly in these 4 steps. As you can see here, the team analyzes the current conversation context, including the conversation history and participant names and description attributes. So from here, we can see we need to also define the description for each agent. And this is different from the system message. To determine the next speaker using a model. So we should also have a model to determine the next speaker. By default, the team will not select the same speaker consecutively unless it is the only agent available. This can be changed by setting this flag. You can also override the model by providing a custom selection function. And this was the first step. So in the first step, the team analyzes, who's going to speak next using a model, an LLM. And in step 2, the team prompts the selected speaker agent to provide a response, which is then broadcasted to all other participants. In other words, then the agent that is selected in the first step is going to talk, and before generating the output, it will see the whole previous chat history. And in the third step, the termination condition is checked to determine if the conversation should end. If not, the process repeats from step 1. So we will check a termination condition. Maybe we terminate the chat. Maybe we just go back to step 1. Again, we decide who's going to talk next. And then that agent will talk. And again, we will check for the termination condition. And as the fourth step, if the termination condition is met, when the conversation ends, the team returns the task result. This is a class in AutoGen containing the conversation history from this task. Now we know that we should also specify a description for each agent. Let's go and do it. So other than a system message, I should also add a description for my agent, a writer agent that writes content based on a given topic. Yeah, fair enough. So this is my writer agent. Now it's time to define the Content-Critic Agent. Content-Critic Agent. This is also an assistant agent. The name is Content-Critic Agent. By the way, if you have GitHub Copilot, it is really useful in this context that you need to repeat a pattern that you already have it several times. Very good suggestions. Description, a content critic agent that provides feedback on the content written by the writer. Cool, by the writer agent. And here's the system message. You are a content critic agent. You will be given a piece of content, or let's say text, and you need to provide scores on on the grammar, clarity, and style of the text. You should also, and let's also set the range for the score to provide scores from 0 to 10. Yeah, on the grammar, clarity, and style of the text. You should also provide a to-do list of improvements for the writer agent to improve the text. And just according to my experience, this agent, this Content-Critic Agent, might have a tendency to rewrite the text itself. I don't want it to do that. So let's explicitly state that you should never write the text yourself. Cool. Okay. So this is the system message. The model client is just the model, and I guess we're good to go. And now a similar process for the SEO-Critic agent. So the name is SEO-Critic. This is the description, an SEO-Critic agent that provides feedback on the SEO of the content written by the writer agent. Cool. And here's the system message. You are an SEO-Critic agent. You will be given a piece of text and you need to provide scores from 0, just a single score. Provide a single score from 0 to 10 on the SEO of the text. You should also provide a to-do list of improvements for the writer agent to improve it. And exactly, you should never write the text yourself. And just according to my experience, I will add this one as well. Be as specific as possible for both of these agents. Be as specific as possible. I don't want it to just say something in general. I want it to be specific about that piece of text. Okay, and the model client will be just the model, and we're good to go. I also need to define, there are two ways actually. Let me show you. One way is that I can just define the selector group chat right now with no specific prompt on how to choose the next agent at each stage. Let me show you the base code for Selector Group Chat. This is the Selector Group Chat, and as I've said this several times in previous videos, this is a very important skill to be able to skim the documentation or the GitHub code and find out the answers to your questions. This is so important. So even if you already know the answers to some of your questions, this is a very good idea to just practice going to their documentation or their GitHub codes and find out the answers there. So this is the code for Selector Group Chat. And let's see. Okay, you can see in the constructor of this class, we have a selector prompt, and this is the default prompt for the LLM responsible to choose the next speaker. You are in a role-play game. This is not exactly what we're doing now. The following roles are available, and this is the roles variable, then inside the code they will format this string and they will replace these with the actual content. Read the following conversation, then select the next role from participants to play. Only return the role. And this is the history. Read the above conversation. You see, they're repeating it because they know that the LLMs aren't that smart right now. We need to repeat something several times, maybe using different languages in different parts of our prompts to make sure they will follow our instruction. Read the above conversation, then select the next role from participants to play. Only return the role. This is good, but we can improve it and tailor it for our current project. So let me just copy it. So I need to specify selector prompt. Let me do it this way. Okay, you are in a role play? No. You are in a team of content generation agents. The following roles are available. These are the roles. Read the following conversation. Then select the next role from participants to play. No. From participants to speak. Only return the role. And this is the history. And read the above conversation, then select the next role from participants to play. No, to speak. Okay, now I would also add this. If a critic agent has some to-do list for the writer agent, the writer agent should address it in the next message, and that same critic agent should revise the text or should review the writer agent's message afterwards. Okay, let's see. And now it's time to define the selector group chat. So let me import it as well. From AutoGen agent chat.themes, import selector group chat. So here's the theme, a selector group chat, and well, the team gets a list of participants. So they will be writer agent, Content-Critic Agent, and SEO-Critic Agent, and also a selector prompt, which we've already defined. And we should also pass a termination condition because I don't want the conversation to go on and on until till the infinity. I need to stop it somewhere. So for now, I will use a pre-built termination condition. I will call it termination. Let's define it. But as one of the next steps, we will define a custom termination function. So from AutoGen agent chat.conditions, import text mention termination, let's say. And also I can say we have this max message termination as well. We can specify, okay, if the number of messages has reached to, let's say, 10, then terminate it, no matter what. But here I can specify a condition for the writer agent. I can say, if both of the critic agents give you a score, give you a minimum score of, let's say, 9 in all of the scores, you should regenerate the content, and then you should exactly say, terminate. So this way I can inspect the final output of the writer agent, and if there is the terminate expression, I will terminate the conversation. Okay, so let's define this termination. This is the termination. It is a text mention termination. I should also specify what text to mention. If terminate is mentioned, then terminate the conversation. I can also concatenate another termination condition, which will be the max message termination. And I can say, okay, if the number of messages became, let's say, 15, then stop the conversation. So here's the team, and now we're ready to orchestrate the team. For now, since we're working in terminal, we've not yet started to develop the web application. I can also use the console object in AutoGen. So it helps me to visualize the chat way better. So let's say from AutoGen core.ui, or AutoGen agent chat, I guess. AutoGen agent chat.ui, import console. And here I can say await console. It's a coroutine, so await console. And then I need, it gets a stream, which is an async generator. So I can I can call the run stream method of my team. So let's say team dot run stream, and I need to specify the task. What is the task? It can be a string as well. So task will be, for now, let's say, write a short paragraph about the importance of AI in modern technology. And this is the task. Okay, let's create an event loop and run this coroutine to see how it behaves. Python writer.py. Okay, we can see the errors. Selector Group Chat, its constructor is missing one required positional argument, which is the model client. Fair enough. I forgot to specify what model client to be used in the Selector Group Chat. So let's say it gets a model client as well, because this model client, this LLM, is responsible to choose who speaks next. And I will use the same OpenAI O3 Mini for this model client as well. Okay, we can see the team has started. Here's my task. Write a short paragraph about the importance of AI in modern technology. This is the writer agent. It says, AI has become a cornerstone of modern technology, blah, blah, blah. And here's the Content-Critic Agent. The grammar is 10, clarity is 10, style is 9. Here's some to-do task. And then here's the writer agent. It has addressed the task specified by the Content-Critic Agent. So now all of it is 10 out of 10, but you can see the bottlenecks and the challenges in a real project development. You see, although the grammar, the clarity, and the style scores are all 10 out of 10, we still have some to-do lists, and these two agents are now continuing while it's not necessary. So, if they're 10, then we don't need any to-do list. I should also explicitly state this on the system message of the Content-Critic Agent. And the writer agent has addressed those as well. Now we have the SEO-Critic Agent, 9 out of 10, with some considerations, with some to-do list. Now we can see the writer agent has addressed these to-do list. You see it has wrapped it in HTML. Now we had some headings, some paragraphs, and this is the most recent version of our text. And then the writer agent has also generated terminate, which caused the conversation to terminate. So let's improve it a little bit. First of all, for both of the critic agents, I also need to specify that, let's say, if for the content critic, if the minimum score of the text is, let's say, 9 or above 9, leave the to-do list empty. Yes. And a similar statement for the SEO critic. If the minimum score, or it's just one score, so if the score of the text is 9 or above 9, leave the to-do list empty. And let's see if it behaves better now. Let me clear it to avoid confusion, and now. Okay, here's the writer agent's message. Okay, good. All of it is 10 out of 10, and to-do list is none. Cool. But for the SEO critic agent, you see the score is 8. We have some to-do list to improve the current version. And just like the previous run, it has wrapped it in HTML script now. Now it's 9 and no to-do list. So I guess the writer agent will, and very wisely, even after the SEO has, given a score of 9, the conversation has gone to the content critic. It's again 10. So now the writer agent comes up with the most recent version and says terminate. Okay, this is good. So what to do next? Well, first of all, just as a little bit of development challenge, although it is working now, it's fine. We can start developing the web application right now. But as I mentioned earlier, both of these critic agents, the content critic agent and the SEO critic agent, their outputs are just a string, a piece of text. Although, according to my system message, they're saying, okay, this is grammar, this is clarity, this is style, and then this is the to-do list. But I have no control over, the order that these appear. Maybe in another run, maybe if I run this 10 times, maybe clarity comes first, or maybe the to-do list comes first, or maybe instead of to-do list, it just says to-do and then colon. So I have no control over this one. And a better way to do this, since, these different fields are specified by the developer or by us as project managers, let's say, we can define custom data types using Pydantic. this is a very standard way of doing this to validating and also defining custom data types. I can define a new data type using Pydantic, and that data type has a grammar, which is an integer, a clarity, a style. These are all integers, and also a to-do, which might be a string. So let me import Pydantic as well. Import Pydantic. And from Pydantic, import base model. This is a very common class that we use to define new data types. So I would say class content feedback. It inherits from base model, and yeah, these are almost true. The grammar will be an integer, then we have the clarity, it will be an integer, then we have the style, an integer, and a to-do, which will be a string. Okay. And similarly, I will define a class of SEO feedback. Again, it inherits from the base model. It has an SEO score, which is an integer, and a to-do, which is a string. So now for these two critic agents for the content critic, I can also specify output content type, which will be the content feedback, and also let me see this one. Yeah, for the SEO critic agent, I will also specify output content type, which will be SEO feedback. Let me run the code again. Okay, you can see it now. Now we have a structured message for the content critic agent. Here's the grammar, here's the clarity, here's the style, and here's the to-do. And since all of them are 10 out of 10, we have no to-do. Okay. And again, likewise, we have a structured message for the SEO feedback. The score is 7. We have a bunch of to-do, and then we have the writer's response, and then we have, again, SEO feedback. And the content critic agent is still giving 10 out of 10 for these 3 items. And this is the final answer. So this is a much better version of our initial draft or our initial text. It is both, high quality from the content aspect and also from the SEO aspect. And because the writer agent generated this terminate, we're terminating our condition. Okay, but let's think of this in a larger scale. So, right now it's totally fine. The pipeline, the project is working, the agents are collaborating, and we have a final answer. And by the way, this is just a proof of concept. So, and the LLMs for such usage, for just testing it on 1 or 2 or let's say 10 different test cases, they're almost free. There's no cost, no particular cost. But imagine you have a company and you have thousands or even millions of users. So this single message, if you imagine that, okay, in the end you want to rewrite, the final output, and you want to do it 1,000,000 times a day, this is a very, non-negligible cost. You should save it. So we should look for a better way to terminate the conversation instead of repeating it. And also right now we have no way but to trust the LLMs. We've specified it in the system message of the writer agent that, okay, if all of your scores are 9 or above 9, then just say terminate. But who knows, maybe in one of the runs out of 1,000,000 run or 1,000 run, or maybe the rate is even larger than 1 in 1,000. But maybe in some of the runs, in some of those executions, the LLM does something else. We can never trust it blindly. So whenever we can do something inside the code and we have a better guarantee of doing it, why not? Okay, so instead of having these two different termination conditions, the text mention terminate and max message termination of 15, meaning that, okay, when we have 15 different messages in the conversation, terminated whatsoever. But we can define a custom termination condition that inspects the conversation and finds out if both of the critic agents have a minimum, score of 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, or, even that might be a parameter for that termination condition, then we will terminate the condition, the chat. Okay, so there is also a very good piece of documentation in AutoGen website. You can go to termination, I guess, and it's almost here. Yeah, this is how, this is a very good section on how to define a custom termination condition. Let's take a quick look together. Okay, first of all, we need to define a custom data type, a custom class for the configuration of that termination condition. Well, obviously, different termination conditions can have different configurations. For example, just as I said right now, in our example, in our project, one configuration is that, okay, what is the threshold? What is the minimum score that we want to terminate a condition? This is a part of our configuration. So we should specify something similar. And then here's our custom termination condition class. It should inherit from both termination condition class and component class. And what is a component class? How can it help? It helps us to, we can make it happen even without this component. But having this, then we can serialize, or concatenate different termination conditions, just as we did it here. You see I have this character and these two different termination conditions are concatenated or serialized. We can do the same if we inherit from component. So, well, obviously we need to define the constructor, and we have a property for this class, terminated. We need a member variable to track if the termination condition has happened or not. And then we need to define the call method in an asynchronous way. We need to define a call coroutine, more precisely speaking. And it gets a sequence of messages at that moment. We'll see how it works inside the code momentarily. And then, we should implement our logic here. And in the end, if the termination condition is met, we should set this member variable to true, and we should return a stop message. This is a predefined class in AutoGen. We can specify a content and the source, and otherwise, if the termination condition is not met, we return none. We should also define the reset. We should also define the reset and the toConfig for, because we want to also be able to save our current configuration and also to load it. So we should also define a class method from config. If you don't know what this is, don't worry, it's just a decorator. And if you don't know what is a decorator, again, don't worry. You can go on without knowing this stuff, but it is a very good idea to go and read about them. They're not complicated. This essentially tells the Python that this is a class method, not an instance method. So when we're gonna call it, we can call it using a function called termination dot instead of an object dot. So this is just a difference for those who know a little bit about this stuff. And that's it. That's how we will develop a custom termination function. Okay, let's do it together. Just out of laziness, let me just copy these imports. Well, I need this one, I need this one, I don't need this one, and also this one, and also this one. Okay, I guess this is good now. So let's define the custom termination condition. I would say, okay, let's name our class score termination. And I also need to define the config. So let's do that right now. Class score termination config. It inherits from base model, and it has a mean score trash. This is a better name, I guess. And it will be an integer. Okay. And now I will define the score termination condition. And as we saw earlier, it inherits from the termination condition class and from the component. And we should also pass this custom config class, score termination config. Config. Yes. Okay, let's define the constructor. It gets the mean score trash, which will be an integer, and I will set the default value to be 8 because I don't want to be super strict right now. And I will just make sure I have access to this one. I define an instance variable for this one. Self.mean score trash will be mean score trash. Okay. And now let's see. I need to define the terminated as a class property. And so I also need to define a terminated variable, a flag to just track if the termination condition is already met or not. So terminated, it will be false initially. And now a class property terminated. Was that terminated? Right. And this is just for documentation. It returns a bool. It returns self.terminated. Okay. And now it's time to define this coroutine. So let me copy this and then we'll start from this. Okay, so we have a messages. I don't need this stuff. These are just for documentation. Of course, I encourage you to keep them and do the imports, but let's not do that right now. And in the end, it gives us a stop message, or it can return none. Initially, if the condition is met, we need to raise this exception that termination condition has already been reached. Fair enough. And then for message in messages, this part is a little bit tricky. This messages is not actually the whole chat conversation, the chat history. In AutoGen, an agent can also call a tool, get the result of a tool, and then reflect on the output. So these will be different messages in that specific turn. So, well, in a normal situation, in normal conditions, the agent just, in each turn, it has a single message. So these messages will just be a sequence or a list with just one message, one text message in AutoGen. But if the agent can also call a tool and does that, for calling a tool, we have a separate kind of message. For the result of that tool call, we have another message. And if we've allowed the agent to reflect on the tool output, we will have another text message afterwards. So that will be, for example, 3 different messages in a single turn. So just a heads up, this is just the messages in that turn for that agent, not the whole chat history. Okay, so just saying this, I need to specify some instance variables to keep track of the minimum, the latest minimum score for the content critic and the latest minimum score for the SEO critic agents. So self.mean critic score, mean content score, let's say. I initialize it with 0, and self.mean SEO score, I also initialize this as 0. Okay, so now I have to check if the message that I'm inspecting now at this stage is from the Content Critic Agent, then I have 3 different scores, and then I need to look at each and every of those scores, find out what is the minimum of them, and then update my mean content score instance variable. So now I can say if each message has a source in AutoGen, we know that. So if the source is Content Critic Agent, okay, then I can say that self.mean content score is the minimum of, okay, message, fair enough, message.content, if we had done this like the previous videos, message.content would have been the text that the agent generates. But now we have a structured output. We have these different custom data types, content feedback, SEO feedback, and they have different keys, grammar, clarity, style to do, SEO score to do. So I can directly point out to them and get their value. So message.content.grammar, message.content.clarity, and message.content.style. So this will be the self.mean content score. Okay, so this is this one. And I should do a similar checking for the SEO critic agent. In that context, it's clear we have just one score. We don't need to find out the minimum out of a bunch of scores. So self.mean and SEO score, I don't even need to use mean in its name, just SEO score. Also for this one as well, SEO score. So self.SEO score will be message.content.SEO score. Is that right? Yeah, SEO score. Just to mirror the pattern for my naming, I can also say grammar score, clarity score, and style score. And I need to update these as well. Okay. Now, in each turn, I'm checking, where is this message coming from? If it's from one of the critic agents, I'm updating the variables responsible for the minimum or for the score of those agents. And now I need to check if the minimum value of, if both these scores are, mean critic score and the SEO score are both above or equal a threshold, then I can terminate the message. But I should do this out of the for loop. So once I've inspected, then I can say here's the condition. If self.mean content score is greater than or equal to self.mean score trash, and self.score is greater than or equal to mean score trash, then self.terminated will be true, and return a stop message. Say the content will be the minimum scores are above or are greater than or equal to the threshold, and the threshold will be self.mean score trash. Okay. And the source will be score termination. And then, similar to what we saw in this documentation, I need to also specify the reset and the toConfig and this class method from config. So let me copy them as well. Well, this is for resetting this termination condition. This is for saving it, and it will, we have this toConfig method, and it will give us score termination config, and we will return score termination config, and its mean score trash will be self.mean score trash from this instance. And for this class method, it gets a config, the output of this toConfig method, and it will be a score termination config, and it will return this class, a new instance of this class, and the parameter, the mean score trash, will be config.mean score trash. Okay. So I guess everything is cool now. And now I can pass this custom termination condition to the team instead of the previous termination. I can even keep these as well, but for now, let's get rid of this one. I can create a custom object from my new class, score termination condition, and the mean score trash will be, let's say, 8. Okay. Let's run and see if everything's all right. Okay, the Content-Critic Agent is giving us 10 out of 10 for all of those items, and this is the score of the SEO-Critic. It's 8, so it's equal to our threshold, and you see it instantly terminated our conversation. So it's working. And now we're good to start the web application. It will be just like our previous videos. And by the way, if you have an interesting idea for the next videos, some cool agentic projects, please don't hesitate to leave a comment for me. And my goal is to have a playlist of exciting agentic AI projects. I would like to teach anyone who is interested how to develop these projects. This is a very important skill for the future. So don't hesitate to tell me your opinion or tell me your ideas, and I will definitely record some videos for the interesting ideas. So let's create the app.py. Let's import Streamlit just the way we did in the previous videos. And again, we need to import async.io as well, because our agentic side is working using coroutines. So we need to create event loops here as well. And from writer, okay. So one thing we still need to do, we need to, right now in the writer.py, although it's working, it's a standalone code, but everything is happening really in this main coroutine. So let's split that into two coroutines. I will have a team config coroutine, and let's also specify the mean score thresh here. So this is how I will create the agents and the teams inside this function. I will move from the beginning of the main coroutine until, let's say, here. So now we have a team config function. It gets the mean score thresh, the minimum amount of score that is needed to terminate the conversation. I also need to modify a little bit these system messages. For example, here, if both of the critic agents give you a minimum score of, okay, now this will be a variable, mean score thresh. In all of the scores, you should regenerate the content. Okay. And again, for this one, if the minimum score of the text, and this is mean score thresh, or above the mean score thresh, we'll just leave the to-do list empty. The same goes on here. If the score of the text is mean score thresh or above it, mean score thresh, then leave the to-do list blank. And that's it. And in the end, it should return the team. And then I will define a new coroutine. I will call it orchestrate. It gets a team and a task. And here's what happens. So instead of using this console, this is just for the sake of visualizing the chats in the terminal. We should do it just like our previous videos. We should create an async generator, and we should yield each message once we have it. And then we need to call this generator from our UI to get the messages the same instant that we have them. Okay. So I would say async for, we need to iterate over this team.runStream for message in team.runStream, and the task will be the task. Okay, now we have different kinds of messages, because for the writer, well, first of all, for each message we should specify the source of that message in the beginning. This helps us to differentiate between messages from different agents inside our UI. Because I want to just return yield some strings in this orchestrate. I don't want to, mess with different types, different classes in AutoGen in my UI. I just want to yield a string here and get it inside the UI. So I would say if message.source is writer agent, then print, this one, This is fair. Message dot source and colon, and then message dot content. And this will print it in the terminal. I will call it message, and then I will also yield message. And then I would say else if message the source was Content-Critic Agent, then I want this message, message the source colon. This will be Content-Critic Agent colon actually. And then I would say message.content.grammar score. Let's say grammar score. And then I will have style score, and then clarity score, and then to-do list. To-do. This is the way I would like to show this message. And in a similar manner for the SEO critic, I would say do it this way and yield the message. Okay. One other way, this is, using this way, I can customize. Maybe I would like to make some part bold, or maybe I wanted them to appear in different lines. But another approach was that, just saying message score and message content, just like the way we did with the writer agent. Let's see both of these. Okay. So right now, for the SEO, I'm deciding on the format of the message. But for the content critic, I am just, returning the message content, which is, the same data type I defined earlier, this data type. But how they appear as a string, I have no control over that right now. And let's see how it looks. So inside my main here, I will have a main coroutine as well here, because I want this script to be standalone. I want to be able to run this script alone without, depending on the UI part. So this is my task. And then I will say team is team config with min score thresh of 8. And then I need to iterate over the orchestrate async generator. And I don't need to do anything because I'm already printing it. So I will just pass. Let's clear and let's execute writer.py to see how it looks. Oh, just let me stop it because it will spit some mess now. I also need to have some dashes to make sure it's clear that different agents are sending different messages. So this is from the writer agent. You can see the paragraph. And this is from the Content-Critic Agent. Oh, and yes, we have an error because after the chat is over, the conversation is over, it will return a task result object. And it is saying that task result object has no source. So why is this happening? Let's see. This is happening for this part if message the source equals this one and this one. So, the messages are coming here. I'm iterating over different messages. Some of them are from, almost all of them but one are from different agents, so it's fine. But as the last message, this will not be a real text message. This will be a task result object. And the task result object does not have a source. So one way is that I can, have an outer if checking that if these messages are text message, then do this. So I can say, let's import text message as well, because all of these are text message. And let's see. Or one other way to do this is that I can check if it is not a task result object, then do this. Let me import the task result object. This is another way. I can say from AutoGen agent chat.base import task result, and then here I can say if message, actually if not, is instance message and task result. If message is not an instance of task result, then do this. Okay, so now this is the writer agent. This is the Content-Critic Agent. And this is the SEO-Critic Agent. The score is 7. It's smaller than the threshold, so the chat will go on. And okay, now the SEO score is 9 and the chat is terminated. So we're good to go now. We can continue the app.py. So from writer, import team config and orchestrate. And so initially I want to set a title for my application. Let's call it Agentic Content Generation. Yeah, something like this. And then I would like to have a container to display the ongoing chat. So I will call it chat. It will be an st.container. And I would like to enter my desired text, not as a text input, but as a chat input. So I would say prompt will be st.chat input. And here's the placeholder. I would say enter your prompt here, yeah. Or enter a description of the content you want. You want the team of agents to generate, yeah. And if I have a prompt, so if prompt, then for now, just to show you how this works, I would just very easily say with chat st.write, hey, just this one. And to run the Streamlit app, I would say Streamlit run app.py. It doesn't work with Python app.py. So here you can see this is my title, this is my chat message, chat input object, chat input element, and whatever prompt I say, I will have the hey here. So now I only need to import my agentic side in this if condition, in this if statement. So I would say with chat, or let's remove this for now. I need to, because the writer.py is almost working in, using async IO, and I have a coroutine for orchestrate. This is not an ordinary function. This is a coroutine. I need to create an event loop here. So let's define a coroutine here to show the messages. So I would call it main, and inside the main, I would define the team. Here's the team and the mean score threshold. For now, let's say 8, but then we'll also have an element for this as well. And I need to iterate over this async IO generator. So async for message in orchestrate of team and prompt. And now I can say, and I want to do it inside the chat container. So with chat, I will iterate, and I can say, okay, I want different agents messages to be appeared with different avatars, but for now, let's say all of them having the same avatar, but then I will generate some avatars for them as well. So I would say if message dot starts with, if this is from the writer agent, starts with writer agent, then I would like an st.chat message. The name will be AI. This is a predefined name, and it has a predefined avatar as well. So for this one, I will display it and I will render it as a markdown. And for now, let's display all of the message. I want to make sure everything's all right, but then I will remove this part, before colon, writer agent colon. I will remove this one. And similarly, if this message is from the content critic, do it this way. Maybe instead of AI, I would say human, because it has a different avatar for now. And I will use markdown for this as well. And then if this is from SEO-Critic Agent, again, display it like this. And then I need to define an event loop and run it. And even before doing so, I can say with sc.spinner, I want to convey this, that the agents are working. So let's say agents are heavily working. Yeah. And this is the event loop. And then after the event loop is executed, I would say sc.success done. Okay, so I guess everything is all right now. We can run the app to see how it behaves. Streamlit run app.py. And now I would say write a short paragraph about Lionel Messi. Okay, right now we're seeing one, I can say, bug or one downside of this application. I cannot see my own message. I need to do that as well. But you see, Lionel Messi, renowned as one of the greatest footballers of all time. To me, he is the greatest, not one of the greatest, but has mesmerized fans worldwide and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here's the Content-Critic Agent. All of the scores are 10, and then here's the SEO-Critic Agent. The score is 8, so we're done. Okay, let's make it a little bit more beautiful. This UI is not at its best shape right now. So first of all, let's display this Content-Critic Agent and SEO-Critic Agent messages a little bit more appropriate. So I need to change the string that they're yielding here. Well, I'm rendering them as markdown, so I can use, bold. I can make some part bold or, some part italic. So I would say for the content critic, instead of yielding the message this way, I can say, okay, this is from content critic, and I can make it bold. These double asterisks make it bold in Markdown, content critic. And for the grammar score, it will be like this. And let me have an enter. To have an enter in Markdown, we need 2\n. And then I can just remove this so that Copilot suggests me the correct way. Yeah. Now it's just doing it for me. Oh, and I need to have these enters here as well. Here, and also an enter here, and one here. Okay, I need to do a similar thing for the SEO critic now. So here's the SEO critic message, and here's the SEO score, here's the to-do, and I guess we're good now. I also want to display the user's message, so I need to add a new condition here. If the source is user, then do it this way, say it's user. And a very good suggestion by Copilot, if it's from score termination, because as you can remember, inside my custom termination condition, I specified the source as score termination. Whenever I'm terminating the conversation, I'm yielding a stop message, and I'm specifying its source as score termination. So I will also generate that as well. So this is how it works. And now I can add these two elif clauses. Elif message that starts with user, then do it this way. And elif it starts with score termination, just do it this way. And termination is not a correct predefined name for the chat message. Okay, let's do it once more. Now I'm hoping for a much beautiful response. Write a short paragraph about AI applications in medical science, let's say. Okay, agents are heavily working. I still cannot see my own message. This is not good. Here's the writer agent. Oh, I forgot to modify the writer agent as well, but let's see if the critic agent's responses are displayed better. Oh, now we have a problem. Let's see. Oh, okay. Fair enough. So now we have, a bold version of Content Critic and, SEO Critic. And inside the app, we're checking for this kind of message. So I need to check for the appropriate version as well. This will be writer, and this will be content critic this way, and this will be SEO critic. It was a good suggestion. And this will be user this way, and score termination this way, or termination this way. Okay, let's see. Let's see here. Oh, it should, for these two, this is user, this is termination. Okay, fine. Let's check again. Right. 2 paragraphs on Lionel Messi's contributions to AI. Funny thing. Let's see what we get. Now we have the user's message here. Okay, here's the grammar score, the clarity score, style score. To do is empty, and now we have the SEO critic. The SEO score is 8, and we're done. Oh, but we didn't display the termination condition, and I guess, yeah, that's fair, because the termination condition will be on the task result, not as a separate message. One way is that I can also, check for the task result object and find out the termination message there. I can do it right now, or I can leave it to yourself, but let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. So I can say, if it's not an instance of, okay, let's say it this way. If it's an instance of task result, do this. Else, we have these statements. And now I have print message dot, we have this stop reason, for the stopping. So I will define this as message, and I will yell this MSG. Clear, and let's run it again. And I can say, before this, I can say termination. Yeah. I suppose this should work now. Let's see. Okay, write a short paragraph on how AI is causing, let's say, climate change this time. Okay. This is the user's message. Oh, wrong behavior. And how are they giving scores? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, we have the writer agent, so we're just not displaying it correctly. And why is that happening? Let's check. Inside the writer.py, there must be something wrong here. So I say, if this is an instance of task result, then do it this way. Else, if it's not an instance, do it this way. Oh, I should also make it like writer in bold, because the UI is looking for this one, inside the app, you see we're checking if the message starts with this one. Okay, and now we have the termination message. It says the minimum scores are greater than or equal to the threshold 8. Fair enough. Okay, so it seems that we're getting close to the end of the video. Just right now, the current version of the project has 2 bugs. I can't say 2 bugs, but let me show you what I mean. Streamlit run app.py. Now I would say write a short paragraph on Lionel Messi. Okay. This is the user's message. We have a piece of text. This is the critic feedback. And this is the SEO critic feedback and the termination. Everything seems fine, but now I want to continue the chat. I would like to say, now generate another paragraph on his most famous rival. Let's see what happens. We'll have 2 problems now. First of all, you see something's happening here. And this one has been overwritten. It starts from here and it is clearing the previous chats. It is, removing them. And let's see the generated text. His most famous rival emerged as more than just a competitor. It is generating nonsense. It doesn't know who it is talking about. So the problem is that we have 2 problems now. First of all, we didn't, keep the previous chats. We want to do that as well. We want to keep or retain whatever chat we have, whatever history we have. And then, and more importantly, it didn't even remember what we were talking about. Well, as developers, the reason is clear to us because every time we have a new prompt in the app, you see, we're creating a new team. Well, this team has no clue what has happened before its creation. So we should somehow, save the state of that team and load it again once we have a new team to make sure the team knows what was happening beforehand. Okay, so in order to keep the chats in the UI and not cleaning them, not removing all of them, not clearing them, I can have a session state in Streamlit. The logic for Streamlit is like, whenever there is a new event on the web application, whenever you click on a button or something, you write down a prompt and press enter, everything from, it comes to this code and it starts from the top and it executes all of the code until the end. So that's why we don't keep the previous chats. So to tackle this problem, Streamlit has some session state. We can keep some of the important states of the application in session state. So Streamlit makes sure that these session states, these variables, these keys in the session state are kept and not reinitialized once an event has occurred in the web application. So I can check initially, even before setting the title, I can say if messages is not in st.session state, then create an empty list and call it messages. And Then here I can have a function to display the previous messages whenever I'm rendering the page again, the UI again. So I can say def show messages, and it gets the chat container. Just like what we've done here, I need to redo it here as well. For I in, or I can say for message in sc.sessionState.messages, and correct suggestion, I believe, it is checking for the source of each message and rendering them. Okay, cool. And once I have this chat container, I can call this show message method. So show message with chat. This way my previous chat will be kept even if I have a new event. And the only thing I need to do is that once the agents are working, are collaborating, and I have a new message, I need to add that message, append it to the messages session state list. So I would say, yeah, for each message, sc.sessionState.messages, append the message. Okay, so this way I have, I can keep the previous chats in the UI, but to make sure that, in reality, under the hood, the agents have also access to the previous context, the previous chat, I need to keep the status of the team as another session state. And if I have a session state, I need to load it before, orchestrating the team. So here I can say, after everything is done, after this async 4, it's here. So I can say sc.sessionState.team state will be await team.save state. Yeah, we have this coroutine. And then once I'm creating the team, I need to check if team state is in sc.sessionState, then await team.load state using the team state. Okay. Now let's see if everything is all right. I would say generate a short paragraph on Lionel Messi. Okay. We have the content critic feedback, the SEO critic feedback. The chat is terminated since all of the scores are equal or greater than 8. Now I can say write a short paragraph about his most famous rival. Okay. Now you can see, my previous chat is preserved, although it is not rendered correctly. Something must have happened. I need to check it as well. But at least we can see it is there, and we'll fix it momentarily. But now the agents are working, and my expectation is that they should generate something about Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, you see. So the agents have also access to the history of the chat. So I guess something's wrong with my show message. Let's see. Exactly, something's wrong with it. So I need to, let me just copy and paste this whole part. Because, here in my if prompt, here I'm visualizing the chats, I'm displaying them as sd.chat message, but the GitHub Copilot suggestion wasn't using chat message. This is a downside of, trusting trusting Copilot suggestions blindly. And I need to do all of them inside chat. So this way, I guess everything will be fine. And the only remaining thing is that I want the user to decide the minimum threshold for the scores. So maybe after the title, I want a selector object, maybe a drop-down list or some other kind of selector object to choose the threshold. So let's say mean thresh will be sd.slider, or maybe what other choices do I have? We have select slider, I guess, or select box. And the label will be select the minimum score threshold to stop the agents. Yeah. Let's do it here. And then here's the options from 0 to 10, or a better way of saying this is that list of range from range of 11. Yeah. And the default value, let's set it to 8. So I want it to be 9. The index will be 9. And I guess that's it. So now I can say, inside my team creation here, instead of saying mean score thresh will be 8, I would say mean score thresh will be mean thresh. Yeah. So let's see. Okay. Select the minimum score threshold to stop the agents. So we have different options. I would say, let's say 7 here to be super easygoing. And now I can say, write 3 paragraphs about Messi and his most famous rival. Yeah, we have 3 paragraphs now. One of them about Messi, the other one about Ronaldo, and the third one about their rivalry. And this is the content critic scores, and this is the SEO critic score, and this is the termination message. Oh, we have a bug here. You see the termination message. The minimum scores are greater than or equal to the threshold 8, but the threshold is not really 8. So how can we fix this one? Well, let's see. Obviously, when creating the team, we're passing the true threshold, so that is fine. But I guess something's wrong when we're defining, yeah, here you see, we've hard-coded 8 here. It shouldn't be like this. We have the mean score thresh for this reason, for this purpose. So it will be mean score thresh. And this will fix this bug as well. And the only thing one other step, to make this better is maybe I can also have different avatars for different agents. So let's just search the internet, a writer icon, something like that. Maybe this is good. Let me just download this. And then I can say a critic icon. Let's see what we have. This is cool. And then let's find another icon as well. Let's say SEO icon, if we have something like that. Yeah, SEO. Or this one. Save it to downloads as well. Okay, I will make an images folder and I will copy them inside this folder. I'll call this writer. This one will be content and this one will be SEO. And all of them are PNGs. So inside my code in app.py, I can say, whenever I'm rendering their messages here, for the writer, I can also choose the avatar and I can point it to images writer.png. And the same goes for the human, we're fine. For the user is fine. And for the content of Content-Critic, I will also specify avatar, images, content.png. And for the SEO, and it's not human, it's AI. This is also AI, just to be clear. This is also SEO.png. And for the user, it's fine. I guess user is a predefined name. We can see, yeah, user, assistant, AI, human. Yeah, these are predefined. And I need to do the same here as well. I could have a show message function to do this just once, not twice. I've done this in a previous video, but here, since we're just doing it twice, it's fine. So this is for the writer. We have this avatar. This is for the critic. It's AI, and this is the avatar. And this is for the SEO. Yes, here it is. Let's check it. And okay, my threshold will be 5. Write a short paragraph on Agentic AI. It's not a super clear description, but let's see what it gets. The user icon is this one. Okay, this is the writer. This is the content critic. Oh, so I've mistakenly passed the SEO icon for this one and the content for the SEO. Okay, I can fix this. So maybe I can change the file names. Yeah, this is the file names. The file names were wrong. This is content. This will be SEO. And just to practice a little bit of vibe coding. Of course, vibe coding doesn't need that kind of practice in that sense, but let me also ask Copilot to boost the UI. I can say, I can pass the app.py, and I can say, make the appearance of this app way more beautiful and professional. Let's see what it does. Oh, it created a CSS, a separate CSS file for the style. And let's see what is changing. It's setting the page config. That's okay. Instead of the min trash, what it is doing. We have a banner image. I don't like that, but let's see. And we have a sidebar for the settings, and we're selecting the slider here with the minimum threshold here. And we're having a button. No, I don't like it this way. No, undo that. And also undo this file. I don't need it. Let's have another conversation. Improve the UI and make it much more beautiful and professional. Do not change the logic or flow. Just change the UI. Oh, I forgot to pass which code. I guess it can understand, but let's make it simpler for it. App.py. Okay. Again, setting page config, setting style for the whole page. And what else? Now we have a sidebar, we have a title for that, and we have the slider for in the sidebar. And okay. It's fine. Let's see how it looks. Let's keep this. Oh, this is much better, I guess. Now we have a slider for the minimum score threshold. And we have this sidebar. And let's say generate a short paragraph about what? Let's say the impacts of AI on Lionel Messi. Okay. Agents are heavily working. This is the user. This is the writer. Content critic. And SEO. Yeah, the score is 7, so the writer should modify. Now we have some links as well, and the text is more structured. Now it's 9 and we're done. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed it. So we've started this agentic project from almost 0, and we've developed all the steps through here. You've seen, we had 2 different parts, the agentic side, the UI side, and we had different challenges, different bugs, but we did it in a very short time. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to give me your ideas for the next videos. And also, you see, although, we've done it in, I guess, almost 2 hours, but we had very good challenges, from both, development challenges and user experience challenges. And we tried to address each and every of them. So this is a very good exercise. You can do it yourself. Actually, I strongly recommend you to do it yourself. It can boost your agentic AI development skills a lot. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next video, take care.